So I just want to make a quick video about something that happened yesterday. I know my videos are pretty long, but I just need to show people what happened. I'm not gonna if you don't know why that I'm interested in the crashing and stuff. And go. I was hit um, earlier on. Here's the incident where I got hit. I'll show it to you again really fast. It's a little bit loud. Let me turn it down.
Greatest streamers. Whoa!
Yeah, that was me losing my
Greatest
teeth.
streamers. Whoa!
That was me dropping all my teeth on the pavement and getting 5 stitches in my face, breaking my nose in 2 places, and my teeth and my palate. And now I'm a pirate. So this thought about safety. And by the way, I didn't hit my head. It didn't hurt my head. It didn't have a helmet on. I didn't need one. I was downtown. I wasn't even going that fast, really. My one thing that I did wrong is I turned my lights off temporarily because there were a lot of people that I just come from who were annoyed by my lights. They were like putting their hands up and stuff, and they didn't like me shining my whatever it is, 2,000 lumens, straight in their eyes while they're having a Friday night, drinking session. And so I turned my light off temporarily for that. I forgot to turn it back on, and so that contributed to this accident. If I am at fault in any way, that was it. But that has led me to really kind of dive into this question of safety for cyclists. I try to say that fast with no teeth. And we just got done watching Phil Gaiman's video.
Being in the right lane where I was.
And I strongly recommend it. I'm going to put a link here to Phil. Phil is one of my favorite human beings. He's an ex-pro. I'm not an ex-pro, but he gets so many things right, and he tries to stay positive amid a lot of really negativity. And I actually summarized it, but there's a link here to his thing. He talks about bike legal. And the reason I'm thinking about this today is because in 3 hours, my wife and I are going to drive, and I'm going to go pick up my police report. And I mean, I can go through the details of it. I was based on the video footage, which I have, and then I have the chat that happened after that. It's pretty clear that I was knocked out for about 2 minutes, and the driver of the car and another woman who I believe was a passenger now at this point, because I did not see any other video of her, who was very kind to me. And I wrote extensively about this. I'll put a link to this, about how this accident actually restored my faith in humanity as opposed to making me hate humans even more. But anyway, so I was on the side of the road, and they call the paramedics and everything, and you can actually see all of it. All of it is still up. There's a VOD of it up on YouTube, including my chat kind of waking me up and keeping me sane and not going into shock and stuff. I mean, it was a bloody mess. It's been kind of fun finding all the new places I got hurt and new places for blood in random places. But this has obviously got me thinking a lot about the fact that I got to get I have to ask myself questions now. Now, what do I do? I clearly was in every legal right that I have. The only thing that they might be able to get me on is the fact that I didn't have a light, which I found out is the legal requirement for this town, is to have a light you can see from 400 meters away, 400 feet, I think. And I did not have that. I did not have that in that moment. But that woman obviously had no lights. She had no turn signals. She crossed a solid line, and she went straight from park. So she broke every other law in the book. I'm not going to have a problem. But what do I do now? Right. So that's what this video is for. This video is for me to try to figure out what to do next. And if you happen to be in my chat, I'd love to hear from you. So we can try to talk that. And morbid time to tune in. Why is life about money? And that's another thing. So related to this, so I was down and out for like 48 hours, and then I got up and I did his Zwift ride, and I of course I pushed it too hard, and I got kind of out of breath, and I was laying down. It was fun. The reason that, by the way, that I paid $4,500 for an indoor bike instead of an outdoor bike, which I was going to do. I was going to buy a climbing bike. It was because of this. It was because of this exact situation. I have a family to provide for. I have to keep a job. I have, I don't want to die, but what are my options um, with regard to riding outside? I also don't want to stop riding outside. And here I am ramping up on the idea of riding my bicycle to cover different, culture journalism and be able to show and share the beauty of North Carolina and of America and of the people here. Not all people are coal rollers. Coal rollers is the diesel truck drivers who deliberately uh, black smoke cyclists and Tesla drivers. And if you want to get really disgusted with humanity, go search on YouTube for coal rolling. It is a thing. It's like a whole entire like subgenre of human beings. I mean, these people are some of the lowest quality human beings on the planet. They seek confrontation all the time with people that are just riding their bike on the fucking road. I mean, why would you have a problem with that? I'm not slowing you down. And if you want to watch all of Phil Gaiman's video, but this, okay, so the first ride after that was Zwift, and I did fine. The next ride after that was the first ride on my bike outside. And you can watch that video, but I hit a speed bump in the parking lot here, and I got flooded with PTSD and started crying like a kid. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm such a wimp," and blah blah blah. Because it was the same sensation, and it broke loose some memories in my head that I didn't think I had. I thought I had it together, and I was being courageous and stuff. And pretty soon, I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" I wrote a little bit about this. It really kind of enhanced my sympathy, I guess, with people who do deal with real PTSD. That was, it definitely qualifies. It wasn't, I'm not wasn't getting shot or anything or killing anyone, but it definitely worked. Anyway, so that was the first time outside. And then the second ride outside was yesterday. And of course, what happens on this ride? What happens on this ride? Well, that's what I'm showing you here. So here's my Strava segment. And I mean, everybody knows where I live already. I've doxed that so many times, right? Um, and so this is a single line road right here. Uh, if you're just listening, I'm looking at the road that goes across the lake, right? And it connects a bunch of new construction. I want to show you something here. So this new build, this thing here is a brand new suburb. It's been there for a long time. There's another new one here. This entire region right here has just been flattened, and that's all getting more houses. This entire region right here has all been flattened, and it's getting more houses. And there hasn't been any work whatsoever to improve the infrastructure that connects these areas. These huge apartment complexes that I'm coming from right here, this one right here, and this one right here, there's got to be 5,000, 6,000 people that live here, and they cannot get to school and they cannot get to the only shopping market within walking distance. There is no crosswalk at all in this intersection right here. There is not a bike lane to be seen. In fact, there's literally no shoulder whatsoever. And so, people will say, "Well, just move," right? But I'm so grateful that I'm going through this really horrible period of life living in this apartment. I've lived in a really fancy house most of my life, and for the last 4 years, those of you that know me, you know that many many circumstances have combined to put us into an apartment. Um, it's just so ironic because we have plenty of money to pay for a rather nice home right now, but we just don't have a home. We're still stuck in apartment renting land. So, but I'm super glad for the opportunity because I have gotten to connect with a lot of people. One of the things I've seen in that time is I've seen pedestrians. I've seen people walking to try to go here. I've seen mothers with sacks of groceries in both hands walking here, trying to brave their way across these major, major roads that were never intended for the amount of traffic that are on them. And the people that are on there, I mean, we're talking semi traffic, semis, school buses, lawnmower equipment, everything is there. So anyway, yesterday I started my normal ride, and I have to go on this bit of road, during this dangerous part. No way around that. And then I turn into the parking lot and drive through the graveyard, ironically, and up around here. And then I also kind of keep it together here, and there's a little cutover I found out, so you don't have to go onto the road. I mean, I have to go through all kinds of gymnastics in order to stay off of the road because the road is just too freaking dangerous. So then I go down in this parking lot and I come down this road, which has no shoulder and has a lot of teenage high school drivers on it and their parents. And this is me turning into the high school. There was two events going on. There's a band practice, and I rode around there. And then I rode down here, and I spend somebody actually in the chat the night that I got hit commented. Now I know why Rob spends hours and hours developing routes for his bike. Because one time I was streaming it, and they're like, "Why do you?" They must have been wondering why is he spending so much time, picking the exact road to take. Because you're taking your life in your hands. You go outside with a bike in the United States. So there, one of the routes that I found because of Strava, thank God, is here. And let me show you. Um, if you go to Strava, what is it? The Strava route calculator, yeah, create a route. So on Strava, create a route. You'll see. Um, gosh, where am I? Yeah, Strava, you can know my location. That's fine. Everybody else does. There we are. All right. So as you can see, this road. This is the only road that crosses the lake. And there's people who have actually biked across this thing. I cannot even imagine. I cannot imagine. There's somebody has actually crossed this road on their bike. Can you believe that? Look at that thing, man. I mean that is absolutely insane. I thought about it. I have every right to do it, but there's no way that I would tempt that fate that badly. So here we go. Back to what we're saying. So we're going down. Where's the high school? Okay, so here's the high school, and as you can see, there's lots and lots of running and biking going on. These heat trails, heat maps of Strava are really great. This is not an ad for Strava. But if you are a cyclist, it's you kind of got to have it if you want to move around and find out good places to go. But as you can see, there's lots and lots of routes that go right here, right? This looks like a road, right? Well, yesterday I was reminded that it's not. And a guy stopped me right here, actually, right here. And he didn't give me any room on the road or anything. He's a big ass truck and just took the whole entire thing and stopped because I got off of the side of the road to let him through to be nice about it, and he decided to stop and very nicely ball me out, saying, this is a private road, right? And I went, yeah, yeah, but it's the only way to connect between here and Morrison Plantation to get to, oh, I don't know, this entire area, the gym right here, or any of the other bike routes in the entire area. He goes, I know, I have a problem with the people in Morrison Plantation because they keep insisting that they can use this as a pass through. But you do what you want to do. You do what you think is right. Those are his exact words. And he was trying to guilt me into it. And it is true that like right here, this is super private, blah, blah, blah. Don't go down here. And this whole entire piece of land right here is owned by this crotchety old piece of shit human being who doesn't want anybody anywhere near them, that kind of person, right? And there are so many people like that. And I got to tell you, I do not understand that mentality. We are not hurting you. We are not making you pay for the road to get it repaved. We're not doing any of those things. This guy in the process of the chat, and I won't dox who he is. In the process of the chat, and I was very cordial and nice with him. We left on good terms. He offered to give me a fist bump and everything. And I mean, I don't know if you can see me right now, but my bruises have largely subsided and my scabs are kind of going away. But yesterday, my face was still red, and he could see I was missing teeth, and he still insisted. He said, "No, man, you can do fine." He goes, "Why don't you go? You'll be fine. You can go as fast as a car. You'll be great." He was trying to this truck driver is trying to tell me that I would be just fine I'm not even kidding. And the stream was there. There were 50 people with me who were like laughing their ass off. I'm glad I had to turn the sound down because they were like, they could not believe this guy. And he was just like, oh yeah, you'll be fine. Just go take the other main road. The only other way for me to get from where I was to this area or to, I don't know, this place right here, which is a gym. This is like one of the biggest, fitness areas, or to get to the bike lane, which is right here on Broadway School, the only bike lane, by the way, within 50, 60 miles in the entire area. Um, the only way to get there would be for me to go on this main road, this main arterial artery that connects, that goes over the lake and that connects all of this overly developed area. And he thought, "Oh yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it." Okay, so, and I said, "Fine." I'm so tired of like fighting with people over this kind of thing. For I was resting in a gazebo once that was in a grassy area, and this guy and his wife in their 70s came up to me and started yelling at, not yelling, but they're like, this is private, right? And I went, well, yeah, but I'm just drinking some water here and taking a picture of the sunset. And they're like, yeah, but it's private. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm on a bike. I'm biking through. You're not going to die if I just sit here for a second. There's nobody even here. You walked all the way over here when you saw me, just because you saw me. You didn't come over here to enjoy this beautiful gazebo here at the sunrise, at sunset. You came over here to yell at me. And I didn't want to say any of that. I was very nice about it. And I said, yeah, yeah, you never know. There's always going to be that person who's going to abuse it, right? And now we ended that, but now I don't go there anymore either. It's like, and they're all like, this guy said the same thing over and over again. People don't understand the concept of private real estate ownership. It's like, I pay taxes on this road every year, and this is my private road, and blah blah blah. And I said, look, I don't blame you. It's the system. It's like this guy is paying taxes on a private road while there is literally no way. He said he's had to talk to kids from school who walked down this road. This guy literally harasses students from this high school walking home because they don't want to take the bus and they want to have a nice walk home. And he told me about stopping and harassing them. You know what he said? He said they were lazy. He said they were too lazy. They were to do what? To call an Uber or to walk around on the main road and risk getting hit? That's not laziness. They didn't want to take the bus. How are they lazy? I don't know. Anyway. So what I did is I went all the way up to this pot and I said, fine. I don't, honestly, I really want to do the right thing. It is not this guy's fault. It's not his fault that the system sucks. I don't blame him. Do I think his position is completely asinine? And, yes, I absolutely do. But there's no value in me yelling at him or getting into some kind of spitting word fight with him. And we left on really good terms. And he's like, well, what? I said, well, what do you think I should do? I said, I can't. I don't want to risk this. He goes, well, you should, if you have a problem with it, you should talk to the city. And so he's suggesting that I go lobby town hall for better, pedestrian walkways. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. But do you think the mother or the child or the kid who walked from Lake Norman, do you think they're going to be able to do that? This is the part where, there's been people who I've heard people say this before. I think Robert Reich, who wrote Saving Capitalism, is the one that I remember. I don't know for sure, but he said, being an American in a democracy involves more than just voting. It means that you need to participate in, civics. You need to do those things. You need to know who to go complain to. If I haven't even tried to go before city council, then and say, look, you need to know you got a situation here. I bike all the time. I kind of want to do it while my teeth are still missing. Because I want to be that. I'm going to play it up, man. I'm going to be the old semi-retired, almost boomer who's lost his teeth to some, because the other politicians are all old farts like me, right? And I'm going to go there and I'm going to write up my sob story and I'm going to say, look, I have seen pedestrians who do not have the time and means to come here and speak to you today. I see them every day because I go outside and I'm on my bike and I go running and I choose to walk to the store and I see these people and I am here on their behalf because they can't be here right now. They can't be here. They can't be here. And I imagine every time I see some like memorial, like there's a memorial right here, right here on this road. Okay, so you got this main road here. Here's another major main road. No bike lanes. There's 2 lanes, but no bike lanes. And right here is a big floral memorial to a dead kid who got hit crossing the street and died. And so they put a big old memorial there. That's how, and I don't know how many times I have ran past or seen these memorials over and over again. And it's the same old story every time. Oh, sucks to be a pedestrian. God, I'm so glad I have a big ass truck that doesn't have to play by the car regulation rules. The auto industry completely goes around every regulation, all the regulations in the United States with regards to emissions and all of that other stuff. They and saving our environment and everything. Which, by the way, the cars are one of the biggest offenders. The industry dwarfs it by a lot, but they all get around all of that by making it a utility vehicle. That's why trucks and SUVs are so popular because the auto industry is pushing them. I happen to know this firsthand. The auto industry is pushing them because they don't have to do all that stuff. If it's a car, if it qualifies as a car, it has to do something entirely differently. They have to play by tons of different rules. And but if you drive a truck or an SUV, your vehicle no longer. And the idea is that the bigger, we just keep in America, we just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger cars because Americans are more and more and more afraid of each other because rather than deal with the problem, they just, it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna like warrior up so I can take you out. Yeah, why doesn't he put a gate up? Because he can't, because he has to share the road. So actually, here's some interesting information I found out about this. This made me very happy. So he was pissed about it, but I was like smiling inside big time. Okay. So this development right here, this development is called Morrison Plantation. There's a lot of great people who live over here, suburbanites and good people, And the way this works out, this little road right here, see this? This little road right here, at least 2 of the houses down here are only available by way of this road. So and those houses qualify as Morrison Plantation. So there's actually apparently this guy told me he's had the cops out there uh to deal with the constant problems that keep coming up because these people down here can't have anybody visit them unless they go on the private road. This right here is blocked off. You can't see it. See it right there? That road is blocked off. You cannot go past that road. So the only access to these houses at all is through this private road. That means if any of these people who live here, if they want to do anything at all, if they want to have a party, if they want to have a wedding, if they want to have a Halloween event, if they want to have a Christmas gathering where their family comes from out of town, those cars, those rental cars have to go down this road and get down here. But it's a private road, right? The ironic thing is that the guy that was complaining, I happen to know he lives right here. He lives in this house right here, and he says he has to, quote, deal with it more than everybody else because he's right there. I know that his daughter has had a party because they were like back to wall cars going down here to the party. And right where it said private road was all covered up with confetti and floating balloons. And you're almost there. The party's down here. And so his daughter, I assume, he has no problem thumbing his nose at these strict rules about people riding on the roads, including people in cars that are filling up all the traffic and everything. Huge, maintenance on the road, not compared to what I'm doing. And he has no problem doing that, for his daughter's one-time event. But he'll give me shit. He'll give me shit for being an old man trying to stay alive on the only connecting route between here, and here. And I'm not the only one, by the way. These people in Morrison Plantation think that this road should not be private. Apparently there's a huge feud going on between the people that live here and the people that want to control the access to this road. And they're actually they're talking about, the town is talking about making an easement on the road, which would then make this, they would take away this quote private property for the road, saying no, you have to let people ride on the road. And the guy was like, I hope they rip down this gate, because if they rip down this gate, then these people down here that are in Morris Plantation won't have a thing to say anymore, and then we could just use our private road and nobody could come on it. So there. I mean, that's how intent this guy is on not having any traffic go on this really dusty, slow riding, dirt road. And you know, that's literally the only way to connect. So the good news is that the Morrison Plantation, these people, and this is the best part of all. So somebody with a lot of money in this in this area. This is so cool. I love hearing rich people fight with other rich people who are cool, who are good people. There's a rich person over here who bought this entire lot. See this lot right here? Their next door neighbor, somebody from Morrison Plantation, dropped the money to buy the lot from here over, that whole entire thing. So that road that's facing that lot right there is owned by Morrison Plantation over here. And they're pushing really, really hard because this guy's like, well, technically, that means that their road in front of their house is belongs to Morrison Plantation. So apparently, what he was trying to say, he didn't really come straight out and say it, but I think what he was trying to say is the segment from here to here is actually owned by Morrison Plantation, and they don't care. But the segment in front of his house, he doesn't want you to ride on, and the segment from here to here is owned by this crotchety old geezer over here in this like fucking Silence of the Lambs house, and they don't want you to live. They don't want you to go there at all. So yeah, lots of drama there. And yeah, go ahead, Lurk. I'm just talking. So anyway, um, so yeah, so I did the right thing and I turned around, and at the end of it, he was kind of starting to change his opinion. He's like, "No, man, you can go. It's whatever you feel is right." I said, "No, if you stop." So I understand. I want to do the right thing, and so I turned around. I turned around and I took the whole stream with me, and we went on this main road. And so then we went down here. I crossed this intersection, which was hilariously bad. When we were at the intersection, by the way, I kid you not, there's video of this. While we were at the intersection, there was a firehouse right here, right? We drive past the firehouse all the time. Okay, so there's a firehouse right there. And there was a big old fire truck, and I pulled off the road because the fire truck, that's what you're supposed to do, right? It's the law. And I pulled off, and I was right here, and there were these cars going through here, right? And I mean, he was honking his horn and everything, and he had to stop in the intersection. And three cars, I kid you not, I have it on video. Three cars tried to go in front of this stopped fire engine. And people in my stream were freaking out. They're like, "Oh my god, that is so illegal. That's like you get such a fine and all that stuff." This fire truck was right here honking his horn, and these two truck drivers and an SUV, they just kept going, and they just did not want to stop. They didn't want to lose the light. And it's like the fucking fire truck is right there. He can't even go through the intersection because these people won't even obey the law when there's a fire truck involved. I mean, it was just crazy. So I finally went across, and I took this little path right here, and and then I took this back road, more back roads, back road, back road, back road, back road, back road. That road does not go through. I wish it did. Does that road go through? That road doesn't go through. It's like a no. Somebody's running. It's like somebody's running route or something. That is not a road. Anyway, so. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I came up here, and then so I was on this main road, all the way down. I had to go it all the way down. I had to pass, and right here, right here, I drove on the grass. I was gonna fall in a ditch or something because I didn't want to be on the road. It was on the grass right here too. I was afraid I was gonna get yelled at by the church. Um, I think this is the church. No, no, this is the church right here. I was gonna get yelled at for the church being on their grass, and I went on their grass there. And then I came over to this intersection here, and I was able to cut. Actually, I cut through right here. This has all been bulldozed, and so then I took a left, and I was on this major road, and I went on the sidewalk because it's too scary. And but poor Phil's a cyclist. He would be doing 20 miles an hour. There's no way he can go on the sidewalk. So and I went over here, and then I went through here, back the backside way over there. It's funny because there must have been 4 or 5 cars pulled out in the parking lot. It didn't see me on top. Even with my lights on, they didn't see me. I had to just watch out for them, and turn here, and then I went down, and I mean, as I said, the rest is history. I went down and did my normal ride through this neighborhood. This is a really nice neighborhood right here. Really, no cars here at all. Um, and then down here as well on the peninsula. When you get on these little peninsula things, it's actually better because other than the main arterial road, which has got really bad traffic usually, you get around in these cul-de-sacs and stuff, and they're kind of fun to be in because there's no traffic at all. So if you want to survive and you just want to get workout or something, that's the way to do it. And that's what I did. In fact, I turned right here, made that turn over here, and then cut over, and just went down here and did all of that. Um, so that's the end of my story. But I did want to just mention that you just can't win when it comes to when it comes to biking um, in the United States, and I am considering lots of options. I was planning a trip. I was planning a cross country trip by bike, and I've canceled that. Um, it's just too unsafe. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do a town to town connector with my car, and when I go to that town, I'll look up the town on Strava or whatever, and we'll bike around the town, and I'll capture that on video and do some cultural journalism and some exploration, and that I hope to have within the next month or two. I'm planning a cross country trip back to Utah, where my home state, and so stay tuned for that. That is work that's in the progress. I do not know what the time frame is on all of my oral surgery and my nose. They're gonna have to redo my nose. I might get a nose job out of this. um, but I imagine it's not going to be for a while. So we don't know what the costs are yet at all. So we have to talk to our insurance. And as I said today, I'm going to be the uh, going to talk with the people at. Well, I'm not going to talk with anybody. I'm going to go pick up my police report. So I'm going to go ahead and make this an episode of Don't Get Mad, Get Busy. Um, I mean, it's very. I anybody that's been watching me stream sees me constantly battling the anger because there's just so many reasons to be angry, um, and this is one of them. One of those reasons is that in America, sucks to be you if you ride a bike or if you walk anywhere. You are the outcast. You are the one who's weird. Not driving, a truck with balls hanging from the license plate is considered weird. It's honestly, it's not everybody. It depends on where you go. Obviously, I mean, the reason it was so fun to meet the bike messengers the other night, that was 2 weeks ago now, uh, was because it was an entirely different culture, and it was kind of the flip side of it. It was the anti-car culture. But when I go to do the the critical masses every month, they are the last Friday, by the way. So if you ever want to catch me do a critical mass live, but even the critical mass 2 months ago, in the critical mass, a truck driver drove into the bikes on purpose while they were doing the critical mass event. So, um, I'm normally not. an activist when it comes to this kind of thing. I just want to mind my own business. But there's a difference between minding your own business and participating in, your civic governmental dialogue. So this is my plan of action. My plan of action is to start regularly attending the town hall meetings. I mean, every one of them. And it's going to cost me time and money. It's going to be annoying. And I am going to televise it. I am going to live stream it. And I'm going to bring my live stream. They are public events. And so I can bring my camera and I can stand in front of everybody and I can get their response and stick a camera in their face and ask these politicians to be accountable for what they're doing. They are making our roads even more dangerous by allowing developers to develop these lands with no plan whatsoever for infrastructure. And I'm not just talking, bike lanes and pedestrian walkways and stuff across these busy sections. This roadway is jam packed. In fact, there's a brand new development. They just dropped their rents again because they can't get anybody to buy anything because the civic planners don't have the courage to say no to the money involved in the developers in America, cause America. And they just don't have they're supposed to be our line of defense against corporations like that, and they don't care. They just don't care. They continue to authorize clear cutting of these spaces right here. They had no teeth whatsoever, even worse than me. And, that's why I should probably remember that. When I go to give my speech in front of the thing, I say, so why don't you get some teeth? Because I don't have any. Use the teeth that you still have and stand up for something. We elected you here to protect us. That is your responsibility. Do your job. Protect us. Because we can't, these people, these mothers that are walking to the Harris Teeter on their own, these school kids who don't want to take the bus, because the bus can be very traumatic, believe it or not, who want to go walking home, they want to enjoy a nice, happy walk after a tough day of school. They can't do it. They're forced not all of them have rich daddies who can buy them a Porsche or a big ass truck so they can squeal the wheels as they're turning out of the parking lot. I've seen this so many times. It's insane. They don't have somebody sponsor their wrestling team. These are people who want to go back to Morrison Plantation, and they can't do it unless they're already looked down upon in high school for riding the bus. If you don't know this about America, it's an entire subculture in high school. The kids who ride the bus in high school, oh, damn. Yeah, they are. If you ride the bus in high school as an American, you're usually considered, in high school, you're usually considered like, yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad that that's true, but it totally is true. That means you don't have a friend who has a car, or I used to ride my bike like 10 miles to school, and there was no place to change. Believe it or not, didn't have access to the locker rooms to change. So stupid. It was just so stupid. I mean, there's just so many things wrong with America. And nothing's going to change from me just complaining to you about it. Don't get mad, get busy. How am I going to get busy? Number one, I am going to start attending my town hall meetings, and I'm going to stream them. I'm going to stream my town hall meetings, and I'm going to tell those people when I'm talking, there are people from all over the world watching this right now. They're watching your reaction to this, and they know your name. Do the right thing. And this is one of those cases where when I do one of these town halls, I'm going to ask for your help. I have my community is small. I have no delusions of grandeur there. I am a very small streamer. But I do, have an active community, and most of them are very civic minded, and we span all kinds of political spectrums. We have some really fun debates. There's some people in my chat who are all over the political spectrum, and I consider myself kind of hard to peg politically as well. So I want to call on you to help me with this, because if I can get you to chime in. Like, I almost dare to turn my speaker on. Do you dare me to turn my speaker on while I'm actually talking? You know what's funny? You know what? I don't think it's against the law for me to have you ask your questions. You go to these town halls. I've been to them before. I used to live next to one. When I was in Cornelius, I lived next door to the town hall, so I'd walk over to go to that all the time. And I never had the courage to get up there and ask questions though, even though I lived there. So you know, and I'm a resident, man. I'm paying renter money, and that counts. Qualifies me as a resident right now. So I'm going to go to the Mooresville Town Hall, and I'm going to say, listen, you got a problem here. You know, it's not all about developing your downtown down here. You still got people to deal with out here. I don't know what the hell you're thinking. You know, and I got to figure out a way to say it nicely, and I have to figure out a way to get you to be able to ask questions. They do say there. Do you have anybody questions? And I can put my speaker on and let people just ask random questions completely anonymously. I don't think there's any requirement for people to not be anonymous. You know, um, it's not even hard to make real improvements. You don't even need to make things worse for drivers to improve cycling infrastructure. No, you really don't. That's another thing. It's not a zero sum game. It's not like somebody's going to lose because you win, right? If the city, for example, if the city were to just buy this road or put an easement on the road, which is what sounds like they're going to do based on what that guy was saying, they should just put an easement on this road, make it into a public. That means that they can control it and pave it, and this guy doesn't have to pay his money and tax dollars anymore. And then what they could do is they could actually they could ungate this, right? The thing that's so bad about this is they actually made the road as if that was going to be how it was going to go eventually, right? But they probably can't get all these people to sell the property. That's probably what's going on. I don't know. It's a beautiful little area. Would it become an active traffic area? It definitely would. If they open that up, then that will become the new throughway to get to Morrison Plantation. It will become a major connector if they do that. That's why the people here, especially this guy, is like, I don't want this to be a regular throughway. You know, and I mean, Cornelius has done a lot of improvements to improve traffic. Mooresville's done some things downtown Mooresville. So, but I think their biggest problem is probably this road. This has got to be there's another problem that I really want to talk to them about. They have Mooresville's got this really beautiful bike lane. I mean, as bike lanes go, bike lanes compared to Amsterdam are totally dangerous because they're just lines on the road. But anyway, this entire Brawley School, this right here goes all the way down. It's this beautiful, beautiful road, right? It's this wonderful overpass. It's very safe. It's as safe as you're gonna get. Let's put it that way. And it's like got its own, bike lane. And then you get right here, and then the bike lane stops right here. The bike lane stops, and there's a sign right here, as usual, that says "Share the road," which is like telling a motorist in North Carolina to share the road is like, I don't know, asking a 3-year-old to pee standing up into a toilet. They can't do it. They just can't do it. It's impossible. It's impossible for them. They got too much shit going on. My life is too busy. There's no way I'm going to stop. So look at this. Look at this shoulder. Right here, you got this blind corner. It's a double line, single traffic, and there is no. Now, I can actually do this one because I can go really fast downhill and keep up with traffic. But when I'm going uphill, I have to regularly get off my bike and walk on the grass because the people going on this uphill don't care. I've had more cars yell at me going up this hill than any other place in Mooresville. Because they're like, get off the road. What are you doing? You're making me late. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't make you late. And so I save up all my energy for this one climb right here because that is the climb. If I fail to climb fast enough, I'm going to hear about it. But this other way, I never have a problem. I'm usually with traffic. I'm actually usually in traffic. A lot of times I can draft. But that's me, and that's what if you're a grandma wanting to go to Mooresville and watch the the Pops concert that they have downtown. Forget it. What if you live down here? How are you going to get from here on your bike? How are you going to get from here on your bike into downtown Mooresville over here? It's like you think it would be easy. Look at how close it is. You can't do it. This section right here, okay. So this, to Mooresville's credit, this section from right here all the way into town, has this big, awesome, huge, multi-wide sidewalk that they decided to do instead of a bike lane. Begin, you get all sorts of people walking and climbing, and that's totally doable, right? But you have to get to this point. What the town hall people don't realize is that their entire plan is a fail if they don't fix this one section. This one section right here prevents this entire half of the town from going to downtown. Nobody can get there by bike or any other way unless they do something with this one little section right here. And you think that they, I mean, all they really have to do, if they could connect these neighborhoods in the back, if they could connect these neighborhoods, then people could stay in the neighborhood, right? Now, I'd love to do that. They could connect the neighborhoods, but they don't. There are a bunch of cul-de-sacs that don't connect. If those things connected through, then we could go, we could come here and we could get to this spot right here and where it's nice and safe. And they could make a path right there. So the plan is I am going to go to the town hall and I've got a lot of suggestions. And of course, they don't think about this stuff at all. I think about it multiple hours, a week. So I'm going to offer my services and say, listen, I am a regular guy, bike commuter. I'm also a cyclist, athletic cyclist stuff. So, and I don't have a lot of extra time, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. That's what I'm going to do. American laws, comment from the chat. American laws are crazy in general, though. They're very anti-pedestrian from the get-go. Yeah, they are. That's true. And I don't understand why that is. I really don't. Well, it's probably the same reason that our medical system, as Peter Attia very astutely notices in the book Outlive, which I missed the book club a couple of weeks in a row last week because I got hit by a car, and so which is kind of ironic. He notes that too. Our medical system is designed to make people money. It's a reactive medical system. If you try to ask your insurance to pay for your gym membership, forget it. Right? Try to get them to pay for, your dental, productive cleanings. I mean, they will do some things, but they won't, and God knows they won't prescribe multivitamins or something like that because there's no money in it. There's more money in filling you full of drugs after you've got a disease or something. And Peter Attia calls it medicine 2.0. We need to head to medicine 3.0, which focuses on regular paid visits to the doctor, and mental health things and all kinds of stuff that is not traditionally considered medicine. He and this is coming from an MD, a very popular, very successful MD, by the way, Wolverine's doctor. So and he's like, this isn't working. We need to do, but the reason it's not working is because there's no money in it. And you can say whatever you want about socialism and capitalism and shit like that. And I'm not saying making medicine free is going to improve the medical system all by itself. But it's going to help somehow. Wait till I start getting my bills. I can't wait to share those with everybody. Yeah, I'm probably looking at. I'm going to guess. If I'm going to guess right now, I'm guessing that I'm looking at $30,000 worth of debt just to get my face fixed. Not to mention just the emergency bill that I already had, the CT scan I got. I know you guys think I'm crazy, but wait, you watch. That's my guess. My guess is that my total bill to get my face and nose fixed back to the point it was before I, face planted, is going to be about $20,000 to $30,000. That'll be the total bill. How much of that? I mean, I know that because Phil Gaiman, he's still fighting something like $200,000 worth of bills for crashing on his bike. And he can't pay it. He's like, I just can't pay it. And so, it's going to be interesting to see, and I'm already fighting off debt from starting my own company successfully, by the way. And it was a real estate developer, again, who kicked me out. I want to use this space. Oh, really? Because you just gave me a handshake and a 5-year promise and a contract, and I dropped 20 grand on new computers, and now you're kicking me out. Literally the 2 weeks from that. Can't talk about that. Y'all know me. When I talk about, the ethics of capitalism, and you know, I, I still think capitalism is the best system we got, but my God, I have been the butt end of capitalism for the last 20 years. And I have tried to do all the right things, and I just continue to get screwed by the wealthy, the people who with rich intent, who it's like, I don't care. It's this, I don't care. I got mine. And if you want a more positive spin on this, please go read the link in the chat where when the title of the piece that I wrote, it's called, um, it took having my teeth knocked out to get some sense knocked into me. Because all of humanity, and I want to end on this, um, I'm very, very grateful to have met all of the people who work within the system, a broken system, but they do the best they can within the broken system to make a difference. And that includes Maria and Ben, my EMTs. It includes my doctor, my TV show doctor, as my wife calls him, who we had a great political conversation while he was stitching me up. It includes all the people trying to keep the ER from degrading into a madhouse. And believe it or not, it includes the person who hit me, who felt like calling the ambulance and pulled my body out of the road, even though I really believe it was stupid what she did. But I got no ill will toward her. It was largely an accident. Would I have done the same thing? Yeah, maybe I would have done the same thing. So if I put myself in her shoes, um, but all of the people involved, and my wife, who came out of nowhere and just came down and tried to sit with me, there are good people there. There are good people in our world, and we don't see them. We don't see them because they don't spend time on social media. They don't make a fan. They don't brag about it. It's not like they take selfies with every single person they pull out of a car wreck. Maybe some do, but most don't. And so those people are good people. And I am convinced. I mean, I was planning my cross the country trip, and I mentioned this earlier, but I was planning my cross country trip, and I ran into a bunch of really positive stories from people who had been cycling Transamerica and stuff like that, and they kept running into warmshowers.com and places like that where people put up their own houses and their yards, and they to complete strangers, absolute complete strangers, and because they're on a bike, and they live a life, of sharing and caring and giving people the benefit of the doubt. They could live a life of absolute fear and terror, like you find everybody's got. It's like this. It's this culture of fear. It's like, if I let, who knows what's going to happen if I let people go through this road. If I let anybody through here, obviously we're going to get the worst element in here. And the truth is that there are going to be people who are going to take advantage of it. I know that because there's a segment right here where pedestrians have had to go that goes underneath the trees, and it's absolutely disgusting how much trash is there, because all the pedestrians walking through there think they're totally entitled to just throw their trash wherever they want. And the older couple at the gazebo, they're like, hey, we just don't know what's going to happen if we let. And it's the culture of fear and assuming that people are going to be, the worst, the lowest common denominator. That is what causes us to do this, right? I believe that's what causes people to coal roll a biker. I mean, obviously, the guy in the truck has had some experience that has led him to think that all cyclists are a threat. Why would you coal roll somebody for no reason at all? I mean, why would you damage your engine? And I talked to mechanics on the stream, and they're like, that just totally destroys your engine when you do that. And I'm like, yeah. Well, they do it anyway. They would rather put their baby truck in jeopardy just to coal roll a cyclist or a Tesla, because somebody has done them wrong somewhere, right? So it's not going to help for me to pick a fight with truck drivers and to get confrontational, even though I joke about it. I joke about packing heat so that I can make them remember me. I do all of that, but none of that is real. The answer here is give more people the benefit of the doubt. When I went on that walk this morning, so I'll end with this. When I went on this walk yesterday morning, really early, about 6 o'clock. We went. We watched the sunrise, and I was a pedestrian, and everybody on the stream was like, "Oh my god!" It's like it was horrible, right? I was very negative because it was all this traffic, and everybody was just did not care, and they were all in a hurry, and I was very depressed. But by the end of the day, the morning walk, after we went into Harris Teeter and got my eggs and poppy seed muffins, which I'm gumming to death right now, uh, I uh, we went back here, and this area right here is being built, and so I kind of was on that side of the road, and there was all this big cat machinery, construction machinery. There's a big, uh, like digger, and there's a big digger, and there's these big trucks and everything. And I went back there just like kind of letting my inner 9-year-old out, just like just because it's like these big guys playing. And I got to meet the foreman. I don't think it was the foreman, but it was. I got to talk to him about it. I got to see all of these really well-meaning, like true-blooded Americans that were driving trucks for all the right reasons, and they were there and they were working hard, and it was just I just got and the sunset was behind them, and I got kind of emotional because I'm like, this is America too. You can call it whatever you want, right? And it kind of restored my faith in truck drivers. Honestly, most of my negative experiences have been with truck drivers. This one wasn't, right, the one that lost my teeth. But um, and I had seen all these other trucks, and they were just speeding on this main road to get to wherever they're going. But it took like really kind of looking at these men, and they're all men. Unfortunately, there were no women in that particular site. There were a lot of them though, and they're there and they're driving these things. And one of them even stopped because he thought I was, representing something. And I said, no, I'm just here looking at the trucks and stuff. It's so, and he's like, oh, cool, and he let me go, and I just had a real strong appreciation for all of the traditional, working class values, these construction people that were there on time despite traffic, that were driving trucks and that used trucks for all the right reasons. And so, I walked home, and it kind of made me happy after that. You know why? Because I could start letting go of the judgment. I could say that person, oh, hey, that truck driver, maybe they're a construction worker. Maybe they're not somebody who's going to coal roll a cyclist just for being on the road, And I think we have to fight against this. I happen to know from having friends who are in the police force uh, that they have to fight bigotry and racism in themselves all the time because, unfortunately, in America, the statistics are there, and this is no statement of racial inequality. This is just a fact that proportionally, the amount of crime that is happening that they are exposed to is in black and brown communities, unfortunately. Now there's a very real sociological reason economic reason that has come about over many years. But as a cop, those cops are forced to deal with life endangering situations all the time, and so they end up creating this. They fight against it, but some of them just love it, and they're the assholes. But there's many of them who are constantly fighting against because they're exposed to it every day. So, and the reason I bring it up is because when I am exposed to shitty drivers all the time, and they're usually driving a truck, right? And they're doing a particular thing, what do I start doing? I start judging every single truck driver. And so when I went to that construction site today, and I saw all these beautiful trucks and these beautiful truck drivers, banged up, working trucks, some of them polished, you can tell they were pride of their ownership. And you saw them using them for what they're for, and you saw them working hard, you know, and whether or not they hate cyclists, I don't know. I don't have to think about that. I can think about the good people who actually drive trucks and remember that all truck drivers are not assholes. And I've said that many times on my stream, and I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I say it while I'm riding. I'd be like riding on my bike in a truck. There's a clip of that. There's a clip of a truck. If he would have cold rolled me if he could, but he squealed his wheels and went right around me and got as close as he could. And you get a few of those incidents, and then your brain starts to associate the truck with that kind of behavior wrongly. You think that all truck drivers are that way, just like this particular cop that I was talking to starts to think that all black and brown people are dangerous, which is wrong. It's totally wrong. But because his experience, if he's not careful, he doesn't fight against it all the time. He'll let his personal experience shape his judgment. And that's just the natural human psychology, that you will associate danger with a particular situation. We've been programmed to do that, which is, it's kind of, it's also, I mean, I have the same problem with Christians. you know, I've had a very, very bad experience with Christianity. And I have to keep telling myself, that's not all Christians. There are some amazing, LTM Bob comes to mind. I mean, there are some salt of the earth Christians. And I have to remember that that you can't judge an entire class of people by your one experience. And that's I have to keep telling myself that all the time. The reason I got into this little kind of cathartic closing statements here is because when I got hit, I started remembering all of the people who work hard behind the scenes, who are not greedy, who are doing their best to make the world a better place. And we forget about them. And that includes the construction guys, driving their trucks. That includes, this guy who drove a truck who very politely, by the way, stopped me and said, I mean, he could have yelled at me, right? In fact, Mark in my stream was like, man, that could have went totally different way. That could have went a totally different way. And they were actually afraid for me. And instead of him hitting me, we fist bumped on the way out. You know why? Because even though I strongly disagree with where he's coming from, we had a conversation. And I'm proud of that. So I'll try to do more of that. I'll try to be better, and I'll try to do the right thing. And the right thing in this case is don't get mad, get busy. Getting busy here is I'm going to go to town hall meetings, and I'm going to express my feelings. Rather than being yet another old fart with no teeth, another old man, waving his fist at the sky, I'm going to wave my fist at the town council. I was like, I'm going to go and do that. If you're going to get angry and you're going to wave your fist and stuff like that, at least do it in a forum that matters. Or replace the sky with your town council, They have to listen to you. It's their job. I mean, if you like to rant, just go to your city town council. You can rant for free. So I'm going to do that. Everybody while I was streaming, they're like, Rob for president. I'm like, no way. Don't even go there. Rob for city council. Robert. I'm like, you know what? Maybe. But I don't. The only reason I would ever do that is because this feeling of impotence by being a citizen who has no say in all of the things that can be done in our world to make it a better place, that is the kind of thing that motivates the kind of politician that I would aspire to be if I were going to be a politician. Now, I have so many skeletons in my closet. I got nothing to hide, though. I mean, I would just love to see the attack ads if I were to actually run for city council. It'd be really funny. I mean, it would be great. There's so much dirt on me. Oh, my God. There's so much dirt. I say, yeah, did you do this? Yep. Did you do this? Yep. How about this? Yep. What else do you want to know? Do you want me to tell you about that one time at the strip club in Austin when I was on a business trip? That was a pretty fun one. You want to hear about that one? Yes, please. Seriously, if they ran attack ads against me, I would just be like, I'd own every single thing. I'd own it all. I would say, yes, I did that. Yes, I did that. Yes, yep. And actually, I even enjoyed that one. I was like, no, do you hate all Christians? No, I don't. But sometimes I say that. Why do you call everybody a moron? Because people are morons. I mean, at least being authentic is the problem in politics. And so many people they feel like they can't be who they are because they're not going to get voted in or they got to say the right thing or whatever. Their political party's going to disassociate from them. Fine. I don't care. That's why I probably could never be a politician. But I can definitely go to the town council. And, I'm pausing here because the thought that I might be able to contribute some time on the town council, I'm getting to the age and to the financial stability point where I actually could do that. And a lot of older people, they end up being in the town council. It's too bad younger people can't participate. I mean, say what you want about AOC or any of these other younger. I mean, even the Nazi guy from Florida. What's his name? Say what you want about them, but to have young people involved in politics is a good thing. Uh, um, Buttigieg's my absolute favorite, and you know what? People love. Look, you can say I don't look. Don't look at his political affiliation. Look at what he's done. He's a decorated war veteran. And he's also transportation secretary. He wants to make changes in the world. He wants to improve these kind of things. He's got the same kind of priorities I do. And I don't care what his politics are. I wish we could get away from caring about the politics and then talk about the issue. Whether you're conservative or not, whether you're a raving Trump fan, you know, or a raving, Biden fan, or who listens, or Antifa, for God's sake, all of them have to use the same roads. They all have to use the same roads. We're all in this together. We all want to get to our rallies faster, right? We want to get to our rallies in one piece, whether we want to go by bike or car. So our infrastructure matters for everyone. We can put aside, we really can. And I don't understand how transportation can become such a dividing thing. I've heard people talk about transportation before, and they'll say that they don't want public transportation because it's going to bring an unsavory element into the town. There was a huge fight against the light rail in Charlotte because of that. It turned out to inject super, super tons of money into all the developers' pockets because the entire track became this greenway with pubs and bars and all these really hip apartments around it and everything. And it's, if anybody actually cares to know, they'll see what happens in Soho or Noda or any place where, it may have been lower income before, but then it starts to get cool. And then there's a moment where it's, cool and cheap. And that's when it really blows up. And then the developers come in and they totally gentrify it. And that's when all the money comes in. So, but either way, every single person on the political spectrum is, could get behind a light rail because of that. They really could. It just depends on where you're coming from it. And that, I can make that case. I've been using light rail. I've been using transportation, alternative transportation. I mean, I every single year for 3 years that I was at Nike, I won the award for the longest commute by bike. And I feel like I can make that case. So I'm looking forward to making at least that voice heard. And frankly, I think I might actually knock on the doors of some of my neighbors and say, can you tell me some experiences about, your frustration with being a pedestrian? And maybe if I'm going to go, maybe I can actually get them to tell me their story and I'll write it down and I'll put their name on it so they know I'm not just making shit up. And then I'll go to the town council and I'll read their stories. And I can go through I can go through this because I tell you what, these two apartment complexes right here, they are not represented by the political system right now. These people are barely subsisting. They're barely getting by. Some of them, our next door neighbors, they got the eviction notice. The guy was out there talking to me about he's got his grandfather with Alzheimer's and nobody can take care of him and he can't always make it into work because he's taking care of his dad with Alzheimer's. And I mean, just they're facing challenges that would make most of us just quiver and, become like puddles of goo in the face of the challenges that they're facing. And yes, some of them do pot and marijuana. But when you look at what they're facing, I don't think that's the right way to do it. But I also don't blame them for self-medicating given the shit that they're facing. And people love to do that, right? They throw the druggies under the bus because they don't understand why they're druggies. It's not like they're just lazy people who spend all of their, paychecks on drugs. Eventually, when they get addicted, they do. But we have a number of people here in this complex who are there's a lot of drug use. In fact, there's a met lab on the top floor. They had to redo the whole thing. So, and I tell people that, and they're like, "Why are you telling people this? You obviously live in a horrible place." And I'm going to say it again. I have the money to live in a house on the lake. I do now. My wife is now pulling in a solid income, and my income is pretty substantial relative to that. So I could do it. I need to get down the business debt and stuff, but and the teeth debt, I don't know if that's gonna. It's almost like God wants me to be, stuck in an apartment to keep my feet on the ground. I sometimes I kind of think that that's God's plan for me. It's like I am never letting you back in the suburbs. I am never letting you back in a townhome next with a bunch of posh awesome people, and I'm gonna hold your feet to the ground because you need to represent these people, and I feel like I do need to do that. So that's what I'm gonna do. Don't get mad, get busy. Go to your town hall meetings. That's coming. And I'm done talking now. Last couple comments here. Uh, don't quite understand the laws, but why would you be responsible for medical bills? Someone made an illegal turn, having insurance is required, so wouldn't she be held responsible for all the related medical bills? You would think that. There's a thing called uninsured motorists. Actually, Phil Gaiman, the first thing he says in this video that we just watched is up your uninsured motorist insurance because the people that hit you. So another accident that I was in, I was hit by someone making a left turn while I was going down a hill, and the car that I've told the story before. The car that I wanted to get my bike fixed because it was my only means of transportation, and I was like, where do I even go to get paid for this? I didn't have the money. I was a young father. I had two young toddlers, and I went to the homeowners insurance, and I did some research, and they said, yeah, I put it on your homeowners insurance. So I called my homeowners insurance, and said, yeah, sure, but we have to get the information, the insurance information. So I called the number the girl gave me. It was disconnected. Long story short, the guy who saw the accident in the carpet store right there said, hey, that car's still here. We went to the car. We called the cops. The car had his stolen plates, the one that hit me, and the stolen plates were from a stolen truck. And we were able to figure that out, and I was able to get the police report from that and have a buddy at a bike shop declare my bike totaled, so I was able to get my specialized LA. I was able to get a $1,200. This is the '90s, back when that was a lot. I was able to get a $1,200 specialized LA out of that accident, but there was no insurance to be seen, and that was the first time I learned that you can use your homeowner's insurance to cover your bicycle as a means of transportation. There is no such thing, as far as I know, as the equivalent of motorcycle insurance for a bicycle. And I'm really curious to see how all of that plays out with the new e-bike stuff, right? Because the e-bikes are very close to a motorized vehicle, and at that point, I'm starting to think motorcycle insurance is going to kick in if it's got a motor, right? So that's some other research that I want to do, and I'm going to be putting that information out there as I come up with it. I don't know what forum or how, but as I'm going through this, I'm going to be reporting on this a lot because I really believe that we need to improve the cycling and pedestrian infrastructure in the United States. And if it takes me 25 years of complaining about it in a nice way, I want to learn to be firm but nice. Civil disobedience, I talked about doing that. It does work, but it can create enemies. And I would rather not do that. I would rather try to go about it the right way so that we don't piss people off. My goal is to get that coal roller to see that I'm a human being and that I didn't do anything wrong to them and that I have asthma and you might have just killed me. And that is not a hyperbole. That is not hyperbole. As I get older, I respond more intensely to allergens and to irritants. And so if somebody cold rolls me, I mean, they could literally kill me. And I want them to understand that I am not the source of their anger. I am not the reason they need to be angry. And we can't do that unless I can somehow find it in my heart to not go off on them. And everybody who knows me knows that's going to take a tremendous amount of will and yoga and talking it out because that is the only way change is ever going to happen. Is if we can not dig in and drop our biases and all of that stuff. So it's not going to cover the bills. I don't know. We're going to find out. I will share all of that with you. Um, is trucks cold rolling a cyclist that big of an issue? I've seen that happen or heard of it to anyone I know. Yeah, it's happened to me. It depends on where you are. If I suggest if you want to see about the cold rolling, I suggest you go on YouTube and you'll see it. They actually have videos about how to make your truck able to do it. It seems to be a very active subculture that is deliberately helping people to create cars to do that. They sometimes they do it because they just want to say "screw you, environmentalists," which I just don't understand that. I just don't understand that. I don't understand it. It's like they're like, no, I'm going to use my truck however I want. I'm going to destroy the earth if I want. That's like that's like somebody taking a knife and slitting their wrist and saying, I can kill myself if I want. It's like, okay, yes, you're free to kill yourself. Okay, have fun with that. They just don't understand. I mean, how stupid are you? But I can't say how stupid are you to these people, right? They don't get it. Nobody wants to smell your black smoke, including all of your truck drivers who are behind you. There's going to be at least one truck driver without balls on their truck who is a hardworking construction worker who's supporting their family, and you just cold rolled them along with everybody else in the Tesla that you missed. But you don't see the collateral damage. You think, for some reason, that small pea brain of yours thinks that you have actually successfully accomplished something, and you drive away with your little smiley grin for some reason. What kind of demented human being does that? Well, I know there's plenty of them, and this is not an exaggeration. I have been following this kind of stuff for a long time. The worst one of all, and it's a kind of a negative thing. Is it legal depending on the state? Cold rolling, I don't know. Uh, they killed an old man and got away with it. Yeah, it'd be funny if they knew that they killed me. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Question: do you find the pain meds coloring and enriching your perceptions at all? I don't have any pain meds right now. Take care of yourself and recover from a traumatic event. No, I haven't taken a single pain med. The only well, ibuprofen. I didn't take. They gave me the big 800 milligram ibuprofens, and I haven't taken a single one. So I took. I've been taking over the counter ibuprofen about once every 8 hours, and I did the muscle relaxants twice. And I don't. They said I don't have to. I don't want to, and I'm like, I'm not doing that because I just know some of those meds are dangerous stuff, man. But I've been taking the antibiotics because that's really important. I got a lot of potential stuff there. So yeah, the whole cold rolling thing. I don't know. We'll go figure that out. But um, yeah, I do want to understand what people are where they're coming from there. But it's very important. And the last tragic story I'll share is something that happened to an acquaintance of mine. It's not that nobody I actually knew, but when I was in Oregon, when I was bike commuting, um, and I was really into the cycling community. I was a triathlete on Nike Masters team and stuff, and Team Endorphin, and I mean, so I spent a lot of time on the bike, and I was kind of plugged into the bike community. Um, and this woman was out in the middle of nowhere in like farmland in Oregon, and a truck. This is a true story. A truck came up from behind her, and the passenger side guy stuck his arm out and pushed her in the shoulder off the road, and she died. She died. It was a really steep shoulder, and she went down and hit her head wrong, and there was a funeral and everything. It was really horrible. And this is in this the state of Oregon where cycling is a thing. Um, that actually happened, and I am oh I didn't see it happen, but I was around to know that that's factual. And when I tell that story, people think that I'm exaggerating. They think that it's not true. They find a way to say that that's not possible. That humans wouldn't behave like that. And I'm here to tell you that they do behave like that. Not all. And this is why it's so important that we find a way to make sure that we know that those people are the extreme exception. Most of the people who are annoyed by cyclists are like my friend that I met. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't dox him anyway. My friend that I met who was trying to protect his public road and with his truck. The guy who fist bumped me. Most of them are like him. They don't like you. They don't want you riding on their private roads. They don't even like you riding on the roads at all. They're politically opposed to what you're doing, but they won't kill you. But there is a small percentage of people, and you guys think I'm making this up. But when I went to the critical mass, they told me about 2 months ago, there was a truck driver who drove into the critical mass group with his truck and knocked over 4 or 5 bikes on purpose because he wasn't having it. He wasn't having it. So I don't like telling those stories because I want to believe that they are the outliers and that most people actually, I mean, usually, you get people honking. And like today when I was coming home across this section right here, let me show you right here. I was coming home in this section right here. There's just no safe way to do it without getting in the lane. And I got in the full lane. I looked at my bike radar, and the car behind me saw me, and they waited for me. I don't know if it was a he. And so I got on the pedals, and I started paddling as fast as I could, and I went into the middle of the lane just to make sure that they knew that I needed this little teeny tiny route so I could get up here and could get into this thing, right? And I did that. I dug in, and I got up there, and it was a beautiful sunset, and I was huffing and puffing, and they went driving by, and they weren't angry or anything, and I waved to them, and I said thank you, and I'm trying to do that more because it doesn't help to flip off a car or any of that other stuff. And so I have tried to, I think one of the best ways to fight this is to just be overly full of gratitude. I should not have to thank a car for obeying the law. There's literally a sign that says bikes may take the full lane on that road. Like, we pass it all the time. I'm sure they've seen it, but it doesn't hurt to say thank you. And so I'm just like, it's been fun because every time I take one of those situations that I could have gotten really mad or spun up about, and I just gush gratitude. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. If there was any residual, annoyance in them, my hope is that, my old man charm it's gonna help them realize that not everybody's an asshole. I'm not trying to slow them down. I'm just trying to get home. I'm trying to stay healthy. Anyway. Another comment. I have family members who I've seen annoyed by pedestrians, cyclists, and buses. I had to explain to them how they are actually helping the traffic situation, and now they understand. Sometimes people have forgotten about it, and their original instinct is wrong. Did I just wake up? No, I've been up since 2. Yeah. Yep. If people are asking about my sleep schedule, we'll talk about that another day. As for those of you who are members of my community, thank you so much for being here. I do hope that you'll stand by me when I go to these town hall meetings, and that you'll look for those on the calendar. I'll have more information about that. That will show up on my schedule. You can go check that out anytime. If you're in Twitch, you can go to !Cal, and anything that's coming up will be on there. And I look forward to it. I look forward to an opportunity to share my experience, toothless and all, and trying to stay positive. So, right on, do what it takes. Don't be a dick. Seriously, don't be a dick. I mean, it never ever helps to be a dick, and that's a derogatory term, I know, but it just doesn't help. It just doesn't help, and that goes for me. I'm speaking to myself here. It never helps. Always try to, because you know what? If we can get even one person to go, and maybe talk to your family too, like talk to them, help people. I love that comment. Help people understand that this is about more than selfishness. It's not like the cyclist is like being selfish by taking the only lane. It's their only option. I do think that. I think a lot of times that cars and truck drivers, they think that we're being annoying on purpose. And they don't care about the signage. They think that we're deliberately trying. And Phil talks about this, but there's always people watching my stream are like, "Why did you run that red light? Why did you this?" I said, "Well, first of all, the red light won't pick me up. I can stand there at the red light forever, and it will take waiting, making me make a car wait because the red light won't pick me up. It doesn't see that I'm there. Honestly, it does not see that I'm there. I can stay at the light forever, and until a car drives up, because the infrastructure is all car based, I have to there's like crazy things you can do with your bike and lay it on the ground and all kinds of stuff. Not to mention, first of all, you have to stop, right? And then you can get it to even get the light to register that you are there. So I have to explain this to people. It's like a lot of times it's the safest thing and it's the best thing. And by the way, the more efficient thing for me to go through the light when it's safe and it's clear and there's no cars there. Now, I'm not talking about the bike messenger stuff, that like the Terry B kind of stuff, which I think is cool, but I think it's fucking crazy, and I would never do it. I cannot condone what they do. I at all, at all. I can't. I know why they do it. I want to do it, but it's not helping. It's not helping. So anyway, comment. Most people need to try to be a cyclist for a while to be a better car driver. Yeah, they simply don't have the perspective. They just don't. They don't. And that's, again, I'm so glad you said that, because you got to put yourself in their shoes. You are slowing them down. They are angry. They've been in traffic for 90 minutes. They don't have any, sunset. They don't have the endorphins that you do running through you. They're listening to some, political edgy thing on the radio that's amping up their anger. And I mean, it's road rage is real, and it's real, and it's caused by a lot of reasons that are addressed by the same thing that would address. I mean, if we get more bikes on the road properly, those people would spend less time in traffic. Some of them might even try a bike, and that's the point I think this person's making, is if they try a bike, they might actually understand it. I was with my friend in a truck, and he goes to drive really close to cyclists. He says he gives them enough space, but he doesn't know the feeling when you go by while cycling. No, he's never really felt that. Yeah. Cyclists will never win in the USA, at least in urban areas. Oh, I know. That's not going to happen. Yeah. And, yeah. No, I know. Yeah. No, I hear you. If you're in New York, I mean, it's a completely different ballgame. And I am not judging the bike messengers there. I am not. I'm just saying, as cool as I think it is, I just don't know. It's like me trying to chime in on, a woman's issue. I don't really have a vote. I don't really get to say, because I don't have the experiences to be able to talk about it. So I am not going to judge any bike messenger whatsoever. I think they're fantastic human beings. The fact that they're writing at all, and they're taking their life in their hands all the time. Kevin and Joe, who let me ride their fixie, some of the greatest people ever. And I plan on making friends with them and hanging with them as long as I can. And I have no judgment for them whatsoever. Am I going to stop at a light? Depends, right? I mean, the answer for them a lot of times is never. And because, I mean, for them, honestly, in order to ride a cool fixie, it makes it really, really, really hard to stop that bike. And therefore, they're more likely to go through the lights. I mean, I think that's a pretty fair observation. My obsession with making and riding a fixie since this accident has gone down a lot. Because if I'd have been on a fixie, during this crash, it would be a lot worse. Let me just remind you. Here it is again. Here, one more time. Imagine if I was on a fixie.
Greatest streamers. Whoa!
What if I was on a fixie right there?
Greatest streamers. Whoa!
If I was on a fixie, it would have been a lot better. I locked both of those brakes in order to stop. And had it been a fixie, it would have been going a lot faster, and it would have ended much worse. So I'll leave you with that. Yeah, the calmness in the rural. The problem with the rural areas is that people go faster. They feel like they're justified to go really, really fast. And so you're more likely to get passed by someone doing 85 miles an hour on a 30 mile an hour road, straight road in the rural area than you are urban. I actually feel safer in urban areas. The place where I got, where I had that accident, that was kind of in the suburbs of an urban area, which is kind of the worst of both worlds, right? Um, yeah, people that aren't paying attention, and then you also feel a little safer, so you can go faster, which is what I was doing. When you're downtown in the middle of traffic, everybody's going so slowly that I feel much safer when I'm in downtown traffic because the lights are people can't. I mean, there are people who like squeal their wheels and stuff, but most people can't get to the speed where they would be fatal. So if something's going to happen, it's going to be because you're going to run into them, and obviously bad things can happen when you do that. But um, so I actually feel safer in the urban areas than suburbs a lot of times. In a cul-de-sac in a suburb is the safest. I feel the safest in the kind of the neighborhoods that are highly got a lot of car traffic and lots of apartments that are off from the city that have a lot of car traffic, but also are sort of suburban. Those are kind of messy. I feel the least safe, strangely enough, on a wide open straightaway in the middle of the farmland with minimal traffic. Because the people who come past you, I mean, the people who come past you on those roads are doing 85, 90 miles an hour sometimes. And they don't realize that they're like a sonic boom when they go past you. And, and I honestly, I feel more safe. Feel safer with cars on both sides of me splitting lanes in downtown traffic. Yeah, a comment here. I used to commute 20 miles a day in central London and felt safer there than when I lived in the country. Yeah, see it's kind of counterintuitive, right? You think that there's no cars out there, right? But the cars that do exist, when you actually do see that that one car, I mean, God help you if you're on like a blind turn. One of the most hairy accidents of this year in San Francisco, or outside of San Francisco, actually, was on a big road just like that. It was a rice rocket driving guy who was out there racing his car. The guy died in a bike lane. They had to scrape him off the ground because they think that there's nobody there. These people who race the really 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 dangerous drivers, the one who don't care about the law at all, who just want to do Fast and the Furious. That's where they go. They go to these big long stretches of farmland, or they go right out here outside. You can see there's like the road out here. There's people. There's like where they do their circles. They go there and they do their circles and they do these little races. A lot of times in the early morning hours and stuff. It's actually one of the reasons I used to think that if I was going to do a cross America trip, that I would bike at night. And I don't believe that anymore. I thought, less traffic and everything. The people who are driving at 4 a.m. on the roads are some of the most dangerous people you'll ever encounter on the road. They're either racing or they're drunk. There's a million things that go wrong with somebody who's driving at 4 a.m. And so you might think that, there's less traffic and everything. But yeah, but the percentage of like super duper bad drivers is really high in those early morning hours. Another comment here. Where I used to live, there was a lot of boy racers, 17, 18-year-olds, who fit their cars with racing parts, making it sound like a shotgun going off every few seconds. So cycling is horrible where I live now. These loads of places for cyclists specifically, um, and roads are almost always one way, so it's somewhat safer. Interesting. Across Serbia, the same thing too. Aggressive mindset. So, you know, and to be fair, the accident that happened at night, and it happened. The girl that I had the accident with, I mean, she clearly had a party dress on. I mean, she could have been drinking. I was definitely drinking. I had 3 beers, which slowed my reaction time down. That contributed to it for sure. Am I going to stop drinking on my bike trips? Hell no. I'm just going to take, only 2 beers instead of three. Um, I am not going to like totally change my lifestyle because of this, but I do think it is important that we all be aware of what's going on and stuff. So, um, yeah. So there are lots of problems out there that can happen. Um, and we just need to be aware of them. So I'm going to end the stream. That was a very long one, but, uh, this is going to go into the podcast list. Don't get mad, get busy. And I plan on doing all of my streams from Town Hall in that podcast as well. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube. All the support I've had, tremendous amount of emotional, financial support from my community, and I mean, I love you. I really do. I honestly do. I write all about it, and you can go read the link about that, about how much I've come to appreciate the community that I have here and everything you do. All of even when you make fun of me, uh, you're there. You're there for me. So I appreciate that. I really do. I sincerely mean that. And thank you for all of that. All right, bye.